Hello, everyone. I've been asked to do this update, this podcast, and it's very much an RV structured talk I wanted to have today by the people who are in charge of the RV, and it's in direct response to a very positive message that Sky Prince has put out, and I'm going to have that attached on the website. Remember, it's simonparks.org, so that you can see what I'm referring to with Sky Prince's message. And I've been asked to comment on it positively. I haven't been told what to say. Some RV commentators do actually get told what to say, some don't. I've just been asked to put our position forward in support of actually what Sky Prince has written. And I didn't know Sky Prince was going to write this. I was sent it in the early hours of the morning. Basically, Sky Prince is directing her attention towards the so-called internet group. These are a group of people who have Dinar, Dong, Zim notes, and they're waiting for the opportunity to go and exchange those, redeem them, and then get a lot of cash and hopefully do something good with it. But the people in charge of the RV have clearly been speaking to Sky Prince, because Sky Prince has said that she's been told that this internet group is fractious, it's disorganized, it's not spiritual enough, it's not working for the betterment of humanity, in the sense that it's not service to others, it's very much service to self. There's an awful lot of trolling going on, and as a result of that, this group is not really in a position to receive the funding at the moment as it stands. Now, please go to simonparks.org and read what Sky Prince has said in her own words, that you understand then what I'm relating to. And this is really fundamental, because a number of years ago, Ron Giles, who was very big in the RV, very big player, and he created an organization called One Love Society. And then he posted that the people above had said that his group were not worthy of receiving the funding. That must have been a hell of a shock. And then I know that Ron wrote on his website exactly that he'd been told that his group were not spiritual enough, and therefore they were not going to get the money through him. Originally, I think he was going to get the money. He would then have it through One Love Society, and then he would, sort their projects out for them. And so when that rug been pulled, then it became, okay, well, you guys will have to go and get your money, and then he would then help you set up the projects. So there is a precedent here, and what we've got now is the very high people. Some people call them galactics, some people call them federations, some people call them the Pentagon, whatever, whoever is in charge of the RV is basically saying that they are not happy with the way that the internet group is developing. And as it stands, they will not receive any money as it stands. Now, for quite a few months, and my coordinators know this very well, I put an embargo on new people joining Connecting Consciousness, because what I didn't want was a lot of people saying, we're not going to get money. Simon's organization he's going to be doing projects. We want to get a part of that. So we're going to join Connecting Consciousness. And for me, that wasn't the right reason. I don't want people joining my organization because we're going to get funded and they're not. So for a long time, I got my coordinators to literally not take any more people on board. So what the boys at the top have said to me is that you've got to give these people a chance, Simon, because at the moment they don't have direction. If you let them join your organization, they can learn about service to others. They can partake in virtual and face-to-face meetings. They can actually learn about spirituality and be part of a group. And if you don't do that, then they've had no opportunity to, change and benefit from the financial changes that are coming. So I think that sort of got me over a barrel, really, because if I do believe in education and I believe in giving people chances, then who am I to say to somebody, no, you can't join my organization because you've got, a different ideology to me, if you like. And we should say, I think, right, this is how we are. Give it a try. If you don't like it, then go. And as the top boy said to me, if they cause trouble in the organization, you just get rid of them. There's no skin off your nose, Simon. You can just get rid of them. But you might well find a lot of people join you, really love what you're about. And sure, they'll benefit from the funding that you're going to get for the projects, etc., etc. But they'll also be able to develop themselves and to participate in helping other people. So they said, look, it's up to you what you say. These are our key points, but we really would like you to make it clear that as it stands, we are only valuing service to others. We don't value service to self. We value people who join organizations because they are then a team player. They're not individuals. And also, I was told if they join your organization or a church group or any other organization, then we can get references from them. We can get references on them. So, let's say, I know George joins, and then George puts a project in, and I like the project, and I send it on up as we would do. And they say, okay, what do you know about this guy? How long has he been with you? Have you spoken to him personally? What do your coordinators say? Do you trust him? Do you think he's okay? When people are sitting at home, there's nobody to give them that sort of, reference isn't the right word, but someone to give an up-to-date value opinion on that person. Because they're not going to say to somebody, hundreds of thousands of people, what have you done that's good? They won't say, what have you done for this or what have you done for that? They'll just look and say, what are you doing with your life at the moment? And there might be in a church group. I keep saying that because I know many church groups are going to get funded. But there might be in another sort of group that is going to receive support and help because that group is trying to help humanity. So I've decided then that I will be open to people wanting to join who perhaps never ever thought of joining Connecting Consciousness. But it's on the understanding this is a two-way exchange. If you join, and you've got a good project, it will be funded. It will be funded. This is a 7-year operation that we've been promised, 7 years of funding. But at the same time, an individual has got to play a part. It's no good just joining and not taking part in any of the meetups, virtual or otherwise. Or, people saying, well, I don't need spirituality. I'm spiritual enough. I know more than anyone else. Some people are like that. Oh, I know better. I don't need any spiritual guidance. I know what I'm doing. That's called arrogance. And the boys at the top don't like that. We can all learn. I'm still learning. And I run this organization and I'm still learning. So they are very clear that what they're looking for is evidence that the internet group on an individual level is engaging with service to others rather than service to self. So if you are not a member of CC, obviously, this might be a really good time to join simonparks.org, join, and to play a full part and to be part of the future that is destined to come, where there is a paper trail or a trajectory where individuals within organizations have demonstrated service to others. And there are an awful lot of people who, won't want to do that. Good luck with that. It's true that President Trump will give income tax cuts to anyone earning less than $150,000. So if the person is earning just under that, they will get an income tax cut. It may be no income tax. It might be a substantial cut. I don't know. The talk on the internet is a complete do away with it if you're earning $150,000 or less. I have been told that there are a number of diehard Democrats who would fall into that bracket and are just out of principle not going to take the money. And that's just insane. I think that's mad. Because if they don't want it, they might have kids or elderly parents who could benefit from it. But apparently the boys at the top say that they do expect a sizable portion of Democrats not to take that. So I've actually spoken to the people who speak to me, and I said, please, can that money go towards helping abused kids? Any Democrat who doesn't want that money, can it go to children who, for one reason or another, have had horrific start in life? And that's being considered. I think the veterans and the military are going to do really well in the coming months and years, but I'm just concerned about the children, as indeed I know every true CC member is. So that's what I put forward. So in a way, the more Democrats that don't want that money, the better for humanity, because that money then can go to the abused kids. So it's a win-win situation. But the fact that this is now the topic means that the RV is much closer. Okay, because 3 months ago, 6 months ago, this wasn't an issue. It was so far away that it didn't matter what the internet group was doing. But now it does matter what the internet group are doing, because these are people who listen to the intel and follow it very closely. But they're lacking, in the top boys' perspective, they're lacking that spiritual connection. And if someone says, I'm only interested in the intel, I only want that, well, then you are going to get left behind. No question of that. You can do both. You can be involved in the spiritual development of yourself and of the community around you, and you can be interested in intel. That they work together. They're not exclusive. You can't say, I only want one but not another, because if you were then just interested in the intel and you received a shed load of money, as we say here in Great Britain, what guarantee that you're going to use that money on the spiritual way? So that's the message I have. It was really important. I got that 2 o'clock United Kingdom, Great Britain time. So what's that? I don't know. What's that Pentagon time? 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in the evening, something like that, East Coast. And I think you'll find that a number of the RV commentators are going to be shifting their message to take account of the issues now that are coming up. So many commentators are saying, look, the RV is going to happen today, yesterday. But the reality is it isn't, because the environment isn't quite right. But it's not very far away. It's not at all far away. And as a result of that, this is the message that I'm giving you, because I've been asked to support what Sky Prince is writing. Otherwise, I think people may say that, oh, she's talking nonsense, she doesn't know what she's saying. Well, on this aspect, it's bang on. It really is bang on. And these people at the top control the RV. They control everything in the United States and indeed throughout the world, as we saw with Venezuela. America does, in fact, speak for the whole world, whether people like it or not. And so that's a very important RV message. And it's never, ever about how much money we personally get. It must be about what can we do to ensure that humanity is changed for the better. What is the point in putting loads of money out there? We do things, but it doesn't bed in, it doesn't educate. We've got to demonstrate through projects a better way of doing things, so that your neighbor next door says, well, I'm not going to take my kids to that school anymore. I'm going to take them to your school because I like what you do. And then those schools suddenly see all the kids being taken out. They say, well, we've either got to close or we've got to start doing what they're doing. So you model this new idea, which is based more on inclusion of the community. When Becky went to America a few months back, she found a vibrant CC. Thousands of people, although hundreds attended the conference, she didn't get thousands, but there are thousands of people, and she met hundreds of people in the 3 states she went to, who are regularly helping other people, not just old people or young kids, but just generally being supportive and helpful, taking part in the spiritual topics, debating that, trying to improve themselves, trying to have a positive impact on their communities, and that is not lost on the guys top the RV. Now you might say, oh well, that's America, but actually the RV is for the whole world, and these top boys don't just look at America. I can swear to God, and they don't just look at the English-speaking world. They're looking at all countries, including in Africa. Okay, look at Venezuela. They don't speak English, Spanish, and other languages, but the reality is that every country is watched and monitored, and they are looking. Those people at the top are looking for demonstrations of community cohesion, community support, and if you're in that, you're much more likely to get rewarded than you are sitting at home as an individual. I remember when I used to have what we call an ordinary job, and I used to recruit people. I look at their, what we call in Great Britain, a CV, what the Americans call a resume, and it would say your hobbies and interests. Well, they say, I'm a mountain climber. All right. Do you climb with a group or do you climb on your own? Oh, I climb on my own. Okay, that's an individual. Now, rightly or wrongly, the perception taken from that is that person is not a team player. Now, that may be very unfair, but that's what happens in employment. Oh, I do it with a group. There's about 12 of us, and we go out. Oh, you're a team player. So if you're sitting at home, and this sounds a bit rude, but if you're sitting at home waiting for the RV to happen, you are seen as an individual, not a team player. If you join an organization, you must become a team player or told to leave because you are sharing and being part of that team. That is what these guys at the top don't think. The people in the Pentagon ever see themselves as individuals. They see themselves as individuals within a team. Actually, in some of those flaws, some of that they are family. I don't mean they're brothers and sisters blood-wise, but that's how they consider themselves, as brothers or sisters. They are a very tight-knit family, and they don't like, in the civilian world, the way that someone is nice to you on Monday and then is disrespectful on Tuesday. That breaks the code. And so by becoming more spiritual, in a strange way, you're actually emulating the values that these guys have. And many of these people in these high up positions are incredibly spiritual. And you can be spiritual and religious. Again, it's a misconception. Well, I'm either spiritual or I'm religious. No, you're not. You read the Bible. Read the Bible. You can be both because God teaches values which are spiritual. All right. So that's where we are with it. So if you haven't yet joined CC and you really want to do a project, and of course you get paid for it. You don't just put a project in, someone steals it, and then they claim it and you're left out in the cold. That's not how it happens. You're the originator of that project. If it's half decent, it goes through. If it's approved, what will happen is a number of private companies will work with groups of you. I'm talking to CC people who will have projects approved to work it up into a proper business plan. So you're not expected to do it on your own, and you won't pay for this. A private company will come and do this, work with you online, number of sessions to get it right. And then that goes off, that's funded. If you're the originator, you get paid for it. Now, you might say, oh yes, but if I sit at home and I'm going to go to the redemption center and I'm going to get, according to some of these RV commentators, I'm going to get $1 billion for my suitcase and my notes. And you say, I don't need to do a project because I'm going to get $1 billion and I'm going to go to the redemption center and I'm going to do my own project. Good luck with that. Because if that was the truth, you wouldn't need CC. You wouldn't need any of these other organizations. Okay, CC is part of the contract group. People sitting at home are not part of the contract group. If you want to do good for humanity, you are going to have to join a group. It doesn't have to be my group. You could go and join any group that is part of the contract group. Any group that is going to be interested in taking projects off you and doing it, and where they don't rely on individuals to get money. Okay, because what will happen is this organization that I head will be funded, core funded. And from that, we will be able to fund projects. And both Becky and I have had a meeting with a very high up person in the RV operation. And, it's been confirmed that any decent projects we've got will be very seriously considered for funding. There are some ridiculous people just, I think, having a laugh, put some projects in, I just throw them in the bin. But if it's a serious program that will better humanity, then it's got a really good chance of doing it. All right. So when is the RV? I haven't been given the day or the date or the time of the RV, but I have a very clear idea of the month. So I don't know the day and the date, but I've been given a very clear idea of the month. And it's not yet. I mean, that's obvious. But what I mean is, anybody tells you it's this week, forget it. It's not this week, but it is close. And so it's incredibly exciting. I don't get, some of these commentators get really cross and angry, and then 1 minute they're nearly crying, and then they're jumping up and down because it's all going to happen tomorrow. That's a roller coaster emotion is not spiritual. That is not spiritual. You've got to keep your feet grounded. We don't get like that because we're not somebody who just gets a bit of information given to us and we have to go and run like a mad rabbit around and pass the information. I receive information from a range of people who really are in the know. And I don't mean somebody who's a paymaster. And I don't know any paymasters personally, because paymasters, like everyone else, are played. They are told, you're going to be doing this on Tuesday. So they go and tell all their members, you're going to get money on Tuesday. And of course, it doesn't happen. The people who don't play games are the ones in the military high up, because they're not interested in that aspect of it. They're interested in the managing of a technical or a structural way. They're not interested in the party politics, shall we say, the politics down on the ground. So I've always kept myself back from that because that's not helpful. And I've always kept a reputation so that the information that I'm given is much more fact-based. And so thank you, Phil Godlewski, for giving me a name check. Phil mentioned me saying about the war in Ukraine and what I'd been told about those two cities that have to be either surrounded or fall before the war in Ukraine is over. So I don't just get RV information. Those people, I still meet people who say, oh, I thought you were dead. You're never on YouTube. No, because YouTube banned me because I talked about President Trump positively and I talked about the RV. So they banned me because they didn't like President Trump. So the war's not over yet because I'm not allowed back on YouTube. When I get back on YouTube, we know we can relax. All right, so that's that. Now I'm going to do a call out. I just had to pay another £258 for, I think it was 258, maybe it was 360 for internet support for our organization. It costs me thousands of dollars, pounds a year to run Connecting Consciousness. And they don't charge a membership fee. They never have done. I've never monetized it. A number of people told me I should. And they said, if you'd been an American, you'd have monetized it. Well, that's not necessarily true, but might have been. But I chose not to because I wanted to separate paying of money with the giving of information. In other words, when I do an update, an Intel update, it's free. I don't charge for it. Most people now, and I don't blame them, they charge for it. So I don't charge, but I do have to pay all the bills as every time we send them an email or a message to our coordinators, every time the coordinators have a meeting in whatever country, those bills come to me. Okay, I have to pay the bills. There's one or two very nice coordinators who their community, their local group have contributed and they pay for that. And I'm very grateful for that. But overall, I'm the one that has to find the money here. So from time to time, I have to do a call out to keep this organization going. I'm hoping this is the last one because I have a very clear idea of when the RV will be. And so this should be the last call out before that happens. I also said to Kerry Cassidy, and I love her very much. She's one of the most amazing women in the role that she does. I would not be attending her conference in 2026. So that was again a very, although I have said I work in partnership with her, I'd like to do a joint conference with her. So that's a very clear idea of when I think the RV is coming. And if you want to go and find out what month Kerry normally does her conference, then I think you'll get an idea. Although, you know, I'm not being exact here, obviously not. Is the RV in this year? Yes, it is. So that's about as much as I'll give at the moment. So please, if you are in a position to financially support, please go to simonparks.org. There's a donate button. I know a lot of people don't use PayPal, but it's the only way that I can actually get any money. I know that they take a commission. That's how it works on this planet. They won't give me money unless they take a commission. Everything works the same. You know, when you change up your dollars or your pounds or your euros, the changing man or woman, they take their commission. That's business. That's exactly how it works. As I said in Muppets Christmas Carol, you'll love business. Business. This is the Sam the Eagle. It's business is the American way. And that's just the way it is across the world. So please bite the bullet. I need that money. I need to keep this organization afloat until we're funded. Once we're funded, I will never need to ask for another penny ever again. But at the moment, we are struggling because the bills go up, the internet rising, the prices, they're sticking it on. And so please, if you're in a position, I know it's difficult just after Christmas, but it would be a godsend. And I'd be very grateful. It would be dreadful if, you know, we literally can't communicate with each other because I can't pay the bills. The boys at the top won't do it because, as they said to me, at the moment, Simon, there's no funding heading. If you think of an account book, there are different headings on the top. And if there's no budget heading, you don't get it. Well, there's no budget heading that says Simon Parks, Connecting Consciousness, please draw freely. That just doesn't exist. So, you know, I have to ask you, because I don't ask you to pay money to join, but I do ask you, if possible, to donate whatever you can. simonparks.org, hit that donate button and send whatever you can. In terms of med beds are real. I don't care what people say, med beds are real. But the first people to get the med beds, and Sky Prince was right again, I don't know where she's getting her information from, but it's really correct. And I have said this already, are the people who are going to hold the budgets. First off, people who hold the budgets for the RV, people who are overseeing projects. I don't mean an individual saying my organization whose project is approved to start with, but people who above them hold the budgets for organizations or for countries. Remember that people will have budgets and money that the government cannot touch. So you won't have a government coming in trying to tell you what to do separate from them. But basically, those individuals will be the first ones, because if anything happens to them and they drop dead, well, that's a key player taken out from that operation. Once that top tier of people have been, and their core team, shall we say, because individuals of organizations need a core team around them. And some of them may be quite elderly, some of them may be quite sick. So it isn't just the individual, it's got to be his or her core team. Once that's done, then you'll see a rollout in a very small way. Please don't believe people talking about hospitals full of med beds on day one. At the moment, it's still a hidden technology, but those days will come. But at the moment, it's not for everyone, but will become so. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. I'll make sure that that post goes up that Sky Prince has put up, so that you can have a read of that and see what I'm talking about. So listen, God bless to everyone. Thank you for what you're doing. Please join CC. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Thank you.